Greetings, everybody. Nina the Mystic here, and welcome to another SINDAY Live. Tonight, we got a very special show. We got Wayne Steiger with us. How you doing tonight, Wayne?
Exceptional. Thank you, Nina. It's been a month of Sundays, literally.
Good.
But it's good. Good. This is the nighttime hour, and that's when another side of reality comes out. So it's good. Thank you for having me on, for sure.
Yeah, it's a pleasure to have you here. And Robert, welcome back. I'm sure everybody knows who Robert is, our faithful co-host. How are you doing tonight, Robert?
Doing really well, except for the computer gremlins that have plagued all of us tonight. We had some thunderstorms go through here earlier, and the power must have went out or something because I had to reboot everything. So
yeah, sorry about the echo, everybody. Some snafus on the technical end here somehow. I don't know. Hopefully it's not too bad. Let us know if you really can't hear us clearly. Just let us know. I don't know if there's anything we can do at this point, but here we are. I just wanted to start off with a little bit of housekeeping. I know everybody wants to talk about the Charlie thing that happened here, and I just want to go off the bat and say I don't want to touch on that tonight. I think that's not really YouTube material. However, Robert and I are going to pre-record and upload to Rumble on the 28th. Okay, our thoughts on the whole thing, our opinions on it, who we think is behind it, all of that kind of stuff will be up on Rumble on the 28th. Then next week, we actually got a special guest with us, Robert and I. We got Richard Alan Miller with us next week. So that's going to be a good show. So stay tuned. Make sure you subscribe to the YouTube. Follow us on the Rumble. All our links, of course, are in the description down below. And yeah, that's it for that. But yeah, so tonight, first of all, this is the first time that you've been on the show, Wayne. So why don't we start off with who's Wayne Steiger? For those who don't know, there might be some people watching tonight that has never heard of you before. Describe yourself.
Just a common man philosopher. That's it. Had lots of journeys, and as you get further down on the road of life, you have the privilege of looking back. And my wife and I were talking that it's been so far a fabulous journey. So that's about it. Very simple man.
My simple man. Well, you're very humble. You got a lot of things to say about yourself. I know it because I've been watching you on YouTube for, I don't know, quite a few years now. And you actually do call your channel The Journey, and you're basically vlogging, I guess, your thoughts, and have been for the past decade. So for those who haven't, make sure you subscribe over there to Wayne Steiger over on YouTube. And we're in the chat every morning. For me, it's 10 a.m. For you, I know it's noon, and wherever, 1 o'clock, I guess, maybe for the Eastern folks. But yeah, I've enjoyed it.
I was telling Lynn today that it's a very unique thing. You think about it, 200 years ago. When people die, the biggest fear that they have is that they won't be remembered. And the idea that a common person who has no fame, no, etc., of titans or whatever, just a simple individual, that now that individual can now send a image of himself or herself and know that no matter what, as you transition to the other side, there is going to be a record that you're going to be remembered. And I said, it's hard to imagine 11 and a half years, over almost 2,400 videos. And there was a lot more before, YouTube went through that nonsense a number of years ago. And what a rare privilege. No one in my family has ever done that. And as you and Robert sit here as well, now you have the ability. So we're always going to be remembered, whether it's going to be here on this planet or whoever may intercept this 1 billion years from now. That is something our ancestors envy, and we will cross over to the other side, a new breed, because you see, our memories particularly with, as you said, my channel, it's a documentary of me.
Mm-hmm.
And how freaking rare is that? I mean, so yeah, what a journey.
I have something to say on that in retrospect to the thoughts of, I've been studying the mountain men. If you haven't noticed, on my Native American Myths and Legends show on Tuesday. And that show, I've been doing mountain men. And it seems like the ones who became famous were the ones who kept journals, wrote books, or shared those journals with other people. That's how
Lewis and Clark.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, what a privilege. You can walk over and you can say to your ancestors, I did us proud.
Yeah, because there was
the response is positive.
There was hundreds of those mountain men, and they're all forgotten. Maybe a past or somebody named after them, but other than that, nobody knows who they are. Gone in history.
So there you go. So the moral of that story is make sure you're vlogging or keeping a journal, of what you're doing, and maybe, in the future they'll find it and remember you for it, so, because there's billions of people here, but not very many are out there, you know what I mean? So, nobody don't even know they were here, kind of thing, which is kind of sad, but that is very true.
And it's, it's the way I look at it, it's a living part of the Akashic record.
Yeah. Proof.
Yeah.
I got, in a sense, I guess. Although everything
this
can be
is the
doctored.
motion picture. This is the script.
Yeah. Except everything can be doctored. So now that we are online here, they have our voice, they have our face. They could make a video that made us say something that we would never say. So there's that side too. There's that duality there, isn't it? It can be used for good or it can be used for bad. So.
What if we're the conduit for those other realities that, the new Tron movie's coming out, I think in October. I'm looking forward to it because the premise of the movie is the digital verse is now coming into the multiverse, our physical verse. That's, I love it. So people are already thinking about, well, all right, so this is true. Wow, it means in essence, I guess all of us have touched eternity in some small way already.
Well, yeah, if you hold one of these in your hand, you probably are part of the system already that are going to be remembered for a long time after you're gone.
I swear, it's like a pair of handcuffs. It's like, remember the commercial, particularly in Seinfeld, when he did the American Express thing, never leave home without it. Did we have any idea?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, have you ever left your cell phone when you've gone out and run an errand or something?
I do it all the time. Yeah. I'm not that attached to it, but
that's a good idea.
Yeah. I forget about it.
That's a good thing.
Yeah, I mean, I don't use it that much, to be honest with you, but I do realize that most people are. Yeah, I've noticed that. Like, if you don't, respond to a message immediately, they'll think that you're ignoring them or that you're doing a burp. You know what I mean? Like, you can get in big trouble. Like, I've noticed with the boys. Oh boy, the wife calls you. You better freaking answer. Because they know they can get a hold of you immediately. Which I find is extremely annoying myself, but.
And I have to be honest and full disclosure. So, back in the 80s, the business I was in, I had a car phone and, it was not cheap, but it's odd how I have this thing now called a smartphone, but in essence, I've always had this phone. Yeah. So this is really weird. How long have we really been attached to the beast?
Oh.
Yeah, I didn't get a cell phone until 2011 myself, but I resisted all the way until I couldn't. I just had to. We weren't able to. The place I was living in didn't support the cables to support the other stuff. So.
Now you're up in Canada, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Some of the houses here are so old that the electrical and whatever doesn't support the new cables and phone lines and all that kind of stuff. So Yeah, there's certain places where they just can't install it. So, yeah.
Wow.
That's so weird too when you think about it. The light, the fiber cable. You know, I remember I was living in Austin at the time, and that was the big thing. It was they were laying the fiber cable, and with that, we sometimes forget that prior to that, you know, we were doing dial up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Remember America Online? You got mail.
We're all excited. Ooh, email.
Like, wow. You know, I had a client back then, Philips, and they were developing what eventually has now come out as the compact disc. And their engineers were working on how to make the video one-to-one, but being able to put that much information on the small amount of storage. And it's funny because you look back, we would think that that was like 100 years ago, but it really wasn't that long ago at all.
No.
And look how fast we've come.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know what was that, Robert?
Well, I was going to say, you're right. I think we did a show on that a while back where I said, you know, our great grandfathers had more in common with their great grandfathers than I have with my great grandfather, because you know he had horses and you know buggy, no electric, and now here I am, you know, my father and everything, you know, before him had electric, phone, blah 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 blah, and things are so advancing. Even my own parents are so far behind that we don't have that much in common anymore.
Yeah,
that's true.
It's wild, and now we got this thing called AI, which is, you know, again, just my opinion, but you know, humanity had the white flag. We didn't even get a chance. We didn't even need the white flag. We just said, "Oh, come on in," you know, and it's changed us. We got stuff happening in the heavens. It's really interesting. So I wanted to watch, of all things, The Omen. And do you remember Gregory Peck and the original one with Damien back? I think what was that, 73, 74? And they redid it. And the interesting on the opening scene, they show the Vatican with their telescope. You know, they own this observatory called Lucifer. And they were looking for the sign in the heavens. And I was thinking how odd that you look at the correlation of what they're looking for. And they are looking for something. And you have to say, well, you know, is all the talk of this thing that's coming in, this comet, whatever it is this what they're looking for? I mean, are we truly on the precipice of something that's going to be earth-shattering, earth-shaking? It's interesting to think about.
I was going to touch on that tonight, what your opinion on this 3-eye atlas is. Like, what do you think that is?
No, and you know, it's odd because I was thinking about that very topic. So I want to pull everyone back a decade ago. What was the big thing back a decade ago? Nibiru. You know, you had the Christians who were going back crap crazy. You had one guy that had done all this PowerPointing and showing when this planet was coming through and how it marched up to the book of Revelation. And, you know, it was this really big hubdo and people were frothing that, you know, and come to find out, nothing happened.
Yes.
And
yeah.
So experience has taught me going, I don't know. I mean, I like Ben Davidson. I've met Ben. And what he said that they've recently found by the gas and the thing that's putting off is that the core of this object is not from our galaxy. And its polarization is different than our galaxy. So I'm thinking to myself, all right, let's step back in time. And let's go, all right, is this a progenitor of Nibiru? Is this the return of the Anunnaki? Is this a scout ship? How would we know what a spaceship would look like?
This is absolutely true. Now, did you probably didn't see Carrie, you remember Carrie Cassidy? I think you had her on her show once. Project Camelot, just the other day. she had a show, and they were talking about this 3-eye atlas, and they were showing that it has like 4 or 5 orbs circling it, following.
We have to go back to Star Wars, not Star Trek, Star Wars, because at least Lucas expanded our mind to what is a ship. I mean, isn't a planet technically a spaceship?
It is. It is.
I mean, we just don't have the technology how to use the energy that our planet generates for a propulsion system. Yeah.
So the next thing, Wayne, I want to ask you about this, and this is a really good one, because you know history very well. And throughout history, every time there's a comet that comes near a planet like Earth, for instance, we have plagues, the Black Plague, famines, big earth changes, things like that. Now, this thing is not going to get really close to Earth, but it is going to get super close to Mars. You think it will generate something there and start the planet over? Even though NASA said there's life on Mars, but there you go. There was life on Mars.
Well, let's go a step further. I'll go with you on that. So I believe that there's life still on Mars.
Okay.
We just haven't detected it. They're so far ahead of us. I mean, they may be us, or we may be them. That's it. And what if their planet was the focal point of the solar system, and maybe their prophecy? And what if this is a returning sign? We always take it from a very biased position that Earth is, 0.0000.0, right? But maybe we're not.
Yeah. Totally right. Because if that comet was coming close to Earth, we would be plagued. We could be plagued.
Oh, hell yeah!
And famines, earthquakes, pole flips, a plague that could devastate the planet. I mean,
Robert, you just said something that triggered something in my mind. We're right now in a magnetic excursion. What if this becomes an accelerant because of its proximity to Mars and the magnetic flow of this thing, that it causes the Earth basically to really just doing a fast tilt, which has been predicted by the, Chan in his book, The Apocalypse of Adam and Eve.
Yep.
Chan Thomas.
Yeah, Chan Thomas. I agree with you. There's, it's like a domino effect. If you affect something here, everything else has to change. Even if it's one little bit. I know that from work, because we deal with pressure and temperature and things like that, and flow. And if you change one number over here, this over here might not even work anymore, just because you up the pressure 1-2 pounds, or the flow rate 10 gallons an hour or something. It's amazing what a little bit will do through the string of things. And it doesn't happen right away either.
No.
You change something today, we'll watch Mars all of a sudden do whatever. And we'll go, oh, wow, it's cool in the sky. In about 10 years, no, planet flips.
Well, what is it? Neptune is already now on its side. It's affected every one of the outer planets. And again, call me suspicious or call me Shirley, but I look at this and I'm going, well, the timing is curious. I mean, we had Oumuamua, whoever, how you want to say
Oumuamua.
Oumuamua. I like that much more easier. And maybe it was the true scout ship. Maybe it was doing the flyby, going, "Hey, it's all clear. These people are so messed up, they ain't gonna know what the hell happened." And
easy picking over here, yeah.
It's like, come on. And so now we're getting the next wave. And wouldn't it be odd that if our history, because we've been brainwashed to think it's this monotheistic blah 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 blah, and all of a sudden we realize that really the gods really did dwell on Mars, and this is the return of the gods. I mean, what was it? The chariot of the gods, or is this what we're seeing? And is there a third phenomenon or something about to enter into the picture? Because these things always come in threes.
Yeah.
I mean, anybody at this point could show up and say that they're our daddy, and we would know. Right?
Who's your daddy?
Who's your daddy?
You're my daddy. You're my daddy.
Well, Wayne, you're a scholar of the Bible, and if you read that, it almost sounds like there was multiple beings who must have came here and proclaimed that they were God and had the people either fighting wars or giving them stuff, and he promised them things, and or killed them off if they didn't do what they did. That's what they were going to do. That was our loving God,
and in fact, there were 10, but it's really, you should be with Lynn and I when we get in these discussions, and sometimes she says enough. But, I said, I'm going to do a program this week that the only reason why witchcraft exists is that it was the church that invented it. Mm-hmm. And so if you begin to think of these dualistic concepts coming in, so polytheism, as I said, I think Romans were pretty smart people. I think the Greeks were pretty smart people. Mm-hmm. I think, what happened in Babylon, we can't even begin to fathom how to duplicate what the technology they had. And they believed in the pantheon, that there's this complex structure of unseen beings that have apparently what we would interpret today as being able to travel multidimensional. Mm-hmm. And we got the forerunners. I mean, look at Roddenberry, Gene. His whole concept of Star Trek, the fact that you could travel faster than the speed of light. And then Lucas comes along and says, well, what happens if our little solar system was thrown off from the main track? And what really is happening is this big freaking picture that today we interpret by saying, well, it's the war of the gods in the spirit realm. There's this battle.
Mm. Well, and could that be the reason why the planets are named after the gods?
Ain't that the truth?
Well, I mean, that makes sense. I mean,
when we did the Talking with the Planets with Patrick, that was some groundbreaking territory.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if there's one thing I hope I'm going to be remembered of, would be probably shows like that. Because it expands the consciousness of our consciousness, and knowing that these planets are gods and their influence. I could get so carried away into this because at times, because of that show, and I am so grateful Patrick came into our lives, like Brian, that, they gave us a gift that, wow, it's still giving today.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. Talking with the Planets. Yeah.
I remember that show. I love that show, man.
It was great.
I mean, it really gave me a good perspective on the planets. I never realized, I mean, if you really look at it, the scientists like Ben Davison, they know through science that the sun is the most powerful thing, and it affects everything in our solar system and beyond.
Yeah.
Where back in the day, people just thought the Earth was number one, and whatever. But Patrick, remember, he said the sun is so old and ancient and powerful that you could barely talk to him because we're like ants talking to a human. I think that was his break.
And so, Robert, as you were talking, I'm hearing in my spirit, the thing that, while I'm being drawn back to those shows, the one thing, because it was powerful. Patrick was a medium, and it impacted everyone that watched it. But what you were just saying, so we have they say 8.5 billion people on this planet, and I'm not sure about that, but anyway, that's what they say. And the sun is so massive that 8.5 billion voices for it is like a whisper.
Mm.
You're not even getting close to being, a recognized tone yet. So groundbreaking stuff. And it was part of my continuing enlightenment, this journey. How would a so-called educated man, etc., in philosophy and what have you, what kind of harebrained idea would it be to say that the planets actually have a living consciousness of their own? There was a time they put you away for that shit.
I do believe they are an entity, living, breathing entity, like Earth, like Mother Gaia, as we call it, yeah, she can probably shake us off.
Lilith is Earth. I mean, she's got all the qualities of what Earth is, this raw energy. And we think we've tamed her. And she always comes back and spanks our ass and say, this is what happens when you piss me off. And I think we're there. I'm just telling you, I think she's had enough of the BS, and she's like saying, all right, I'm going to have to come in and bring the belt. And if you knew my background, Robert, I saw that look in your face. It's like when the belt came into the scene, you knew you had screwed up, man. You done crossed the line.
Yeah. Yes, yeah.
Yeah, you're not allowed to discipline like that nowadays, but yeah, back in the day, that's the way it was,
Well, if you listen to what's his name from DAP 2030, God, I can't think of his name off the top of my head.
David
Devine. David Devine, exactly.
Divine,
well, and here's the thing, he says everything's in cycle, and and so we know the sun is putting out less. And the more the sun puts out, the better the earth holds up. When the sun quits putting out, the earth kind of rejuvenates. It's like a flower blooming. And then, it has so long, and then it stops, and then it blooms again. And on a cycle. And I wouldn't doubt that in order to renew itself, it would be on a cycle. Over and over and over.
If you follow Ben's and it's the science that we're in the middle of this galactic dust cloud, and the Parker wave I think is what they're calling it. So I'm seeing, because the sun is now changing from hydrogen to helium. That's a big step. And apparently this dust is acting as almost like a cocoon. And to follow you, Robert, on that, I see that this cocoon is still forming, and when it gets done, that's when supposedly we're going to get the big boom. I don't know. That's where you're going to get your 3 days of darkness.
Yeah,
and all of us are going to be going, holy crap! It was true.
Yeah, well, we can all kind of feel we're waiting for something is about to happen. It's kind of a collective feeling right now. Something's about to surprise us. So it's kind of it's a weird time to be here right now. It's very eerie. You just don't know exactly what's coming. So. Yeah.
I'll tell you how it feels to me at times. So I grew up with a father who was just overbearing. And his greatest weapon was the psychological fear of a beating. And I can remember that us kids, we were so conditioned that the anticipation of the fear of the possible offense was something that, it was palatable. And that's kind of the same intense feeling that it's that, and it's not just me. I mean, you look at everything that's going on there. It seems like the crescendo, if it's not near, I don't know if we could take it as a species. I really don't. And we're already cracking at the seams, but we got to take it in perspective, because in 1969, I remember a group called the Student Liberation, SLL, I think. And, they were going around the school campuses and blowing up buildings. We had the events of Kennedy, and then Martin Luther King. We had the South was on fire. And, you know, I wasn't into astrology then, but I'd be real curious to see what the planets were back there when all America was on fire. And today I have to say, well, we don't have the fires. We don't have the large riots. So is it really as bad as we think it is? Or is this being basically fed to us in such a manner that it is now, it's almost like you're at the hypnotist, that we're getting into it and we're now being programmed to think that it's really bad, but maybe in reality it's not.
Yeah. But then again, the moon, the sun, the stars, the alignment of the planets, I think they affect us.
Oh, I think too.
I mean, we know they affect women. When the moon comes around, they can, you know.
Know nothing about that, you know.
I don't know that much about it, but hey, I live on a farm. I know how to do it. But the point is if we know that the moon affects the tides and other things, we'll not say, but you know, if that little bit can be seen, what else don't we see by like, you know, the sun and the other planets and all that, and what's affecting our mind? I mean, we're just a receiver for radio waves, and the universe is full of frequencies.
You know, Robert, there was a time when I believed, and I don't know if the Holy Spirit ever left or whatever, but one of the gifts of the Spirit is the ability for a human to see into the spirit realm and literally see a alternate reality and how that alternate reality is impressed upon this reality. And when you have this gifting, I've seen it with a number of seers, you know, whether you're gifted at tarot, whether you're other gifted other modalities of the arts, I firmly believe that we as human beings have the ability that we can plug into that. And I don't think that you need the Holy Spirit for it. I think that it's been available to us as a species. And I don't know if we get this from the Neanderthals or the Cro-Magnons or the Denisovans. I have a sense that those humans, and they were humans, I think they had much more psychic ability than we do. The problem with the voice and what have you is that it begins to take away from those. But I think that because of the interbreeding of the genesis of man, that many of us today, we seem to be at this right time at the right moment, that those parts of our being are being activated. And I'm seeing it all over the place. That's true. And maybe that's due to the cosmic rays coming in. Maybe it's due to the magnetic flux that with the planet that's changing with our magnetic field, it has to affect us. And then you add the planets. Yeah,
it sure does. Now, I want to touch more about the Anunnaki here and hear your opinion on that story. But before we do, let's just do a little mid-roll here and show off the lovely merch that we got going on. Of course, you've seen the Soul Tribe t-shirt before, and I may have showed off the Wayne Steiger shirt as well. And this is the man that the shirt is for. So if you didn't quite clue in on that yet, there you go. So they both have a shirt up in the merch store. Link is down below. And of course, we got our Rumble. This is Beyond Truth on Rumble. Follow us there because that's where all the other stuff will be posted that's not posted up on YouTube and Facebook. We are going live right now on Facebook and Kick. So if you're on those platforms, make sure you follow us there, okay? And of course, we do have, the Anthahkarana. That's actually, it was Wayne that taught me about the Anthahkarana once he did a show on it. And that's what got me the idea of.
That was a powerful show, by the way, Nina.
Sorry?
That was a powerful show.
It was. Like, it really got us going with that sign. Everybody was printing it out and putting it under our beds and, and then I
It worked.
Yeah. it is a very powerful, sort of forgotten symbols. We have a lot of symbols actually that was very widely used back in the day, but now we've sort of kind of forgotten about them. And I think it's good to kind of bring them back to life and start using them again. If they were useful back then, they're probably useful again now as well. You know what I mean? So I do believe I'm the only one that's selling Anthahkarana. And if you're wanting more information on it, I do have some in the description about what the Anthahkarana is. But I do have my own custom logo here, as well as, of course, the original one from online that you can find online. And so I have all kinds of stuff available in Anthahkarana down in the description. Okay, you can find links for that there. All right, just a quick plug for that. There we go. Yes.
Yeah, the holiday seasons are coming up. You know.
That's right. That's right. Grab it.
Saturnalia is coming up. You know.
That's right. And there's no tariff on the merch if you're in the States. Because I'm sure people are wondering, oh, you're in Canada, I'm not buying nothing from there. No, the factory actually is in the US, and then there's another one in Europe. So it's only Canadians actually that might get hit by tariff. Everybody else will be fine. So
we're just waiting for you to get fed up with it and join the US.
Well, you never know. That might be happening. Who knows? I don't know.
And you can get this nice shirt. See, I already got one. It's wonderful.
That is so cool too, man. I like that. That is really cool. I was late.
Yeah,
that is cool.
I love that logo. I don't know. It's you guys check it out.
That is.
It looks white. It looks white here on camera because you got the green screen going on.
It's actually
but it is
blue.
a lovely blue. Let me show it again. If I go and actually click on it here, so you can see it up close. See, it is a lovely blue, you know. And that was the year that you started your YouTube. Yeah.
That's
so
what
go check it out.
My soul looks like.
Yep.
Yeah.
Very cool. Very cool.
There you go. Yeah.
So anyway,
Anunnaki. Let's hear about it. What's your take on that whole Anunnaki story? Are you on board with that whole thing? The tablets? Do you believe that that's the truth, or
I mean,
there for us to be misinformed? Who knows? What do you think?
Well, I can tell you, in my spiritual walk, I was, very committed to my faith. And as I look back now, the faith was definitely Pentecostal. We would say today more the mystical side of the religion, but nevertheless, I was heavily committed to it. And when the fracture came into the core, one of those fractures was because of reading Dr. Noah Kramer's book, The 39 First of Humanity. And then the consciousness explosion, happened, was like, no, well, wait a minute. If these people existed, and they did, and they had no mention of any Hebrew God, no mention of Elohim, no mention of Yahweh, no mention of anything. So right there, it tells me that the religion was made up by somebody. Now, the question is, and for me, it's been a struggle, because I look at the story of Abraham in a different light. And I've talked about this, where who was Abraham sacrificing to? Why would Abraham do that, being that he came from Sumer? He worshiped the moon goddess Inanna. So right there, the fracture takes place. So, I've got Stitchin's books, I've got all of them in my library, because remember, I was heavily into Nibiru. I thought that thing was really coming back, and so you study. That's what we do. We're all of us, we're sponges. We're absorbing this as fast as we can and trying to sort it out into our own, realities that we see things. So anyway, the stories of their pantheon, of their belief of their gods, I believe that there is more substance to that story of whether you want to call them the Anunnaki, you want to call them the seeders of other lives. I don't know. But I have a feeling it's more basic. It really could be something no more than gold. It may be nothing more than that. And that their geneticist took whatever the homogenesis was at that time and modified them the way we do today. Mm-hmm. You know, you look how medicine is changing. It's changing from a petroleum base now to a gene editing base. Well, that's what our ancestors did. And you know, the fact that we can trace this back 200,000 years to the caves there in the Southeast Africa coast, then you have to lend credence to, okay, so what happened? And I believe that it was, in fact, you can call them the Anunnaki. Something happened. Someone else either came in, or it could be very well that there was a window in order for them to get back to their home planet, that they had to leave Earth at that particular time. They left what I would call guardians, watchers, here. They're still here. They're still a part of this. Because if the pantheon is correct in the Sumerian lore, then that means that Enki and Enlil are either here, or one of them are left, or both of them left. So to answer your question, Nina, I believe that that is probably more real in foundation than any book, the Bible, the Quran, anything else, the Talmud, however you want to put it.
Yeah, I think it's the closest thing that we have so far.
Well,
you know,
I don't think it was by coincidence that George Smith in 1887, while out there in the Iranian desert with that dust storm that, as he wrote, was an intense dust storm, and when it cleared, suddenly the top of this chamber was exposed. You know, there's something about the truth. You can bury it, but it's eventually going to be like a pimple. It's going to come up and it's going to pop. And once that discovery was made, and it's merely my philosophy or my hypothesis, that had the tablets been discovered, let's say 2,300 years ago, there would have been no Jewish religion. There would have been no Christian religion. Because their record would suddenly become alive, and it would alter history. I would dare say, would it alter Rome?
Well, they had. Well, there's a stone in the road for that. Remember, they had to have the Rosetta Stone to decipher it. They couldn't read it. They would have been. But and you're totally right. But if those records had been discovered any earlier, when humans were fighting amongst themselves, they were in mostly small grouped areas, tribes and kings fighting, you know, the church wielding its sword upon the people, anything like that, they would have just destroyed all of that.
Bingo. You're right, Robert. Like they did already in the war, you know, when we went into Iraq.
Well, the church, let's back up a few hundred years. And when, you know, Columbus apparently discovered America, and then all those Spanish guys went over to South America to get the gold, they destroyed and burned every record they could find.
Yeah.
Why? Why would you do that? Wouldn't you want to see what their society was about or something, collect something?
We can't have a competitor.
That's right.
Damn heathens.
So exactly. So when those things were discovered, they were discovered at the right exact time where, you know, somebody wouldn't come in and say, hey, you discovered something, let's destroy it all.
Yeah. And isn't it odd, 70 years later, the Now Commodity gets discovered?
Yep. Yes.
Two pieces of history that tell a different story, you know.
Absolutely. Yeah, but, and we're discovering new stuff all the time. Like the recently is Globeki Tepe and Karen Tepe, and you know, all the tepes that are around there, and they're all being dug up, and they're all being found new stuff, and they're, you know, all of a sudden history goes back 12,000 years now, not 6,000 years, and it's undeniable, and so they're having to change science and understanding and change the history and figure out things to make things fit again. Unless they're going to go like ISIS did with back in the day when they were doing their thing and just bulldoze everything.
Yeah.
They put bulldozers in there and leveled all the buildings that were ancient.
I contend that, the Genesis 30:36 is really the description of what we see up in Turkey at Göbekli Tepe, is that this comet hit the earth. They dug those monuments deep and then buried them purposely because they saw this thing coming in. And it's just my philosophy that story was interpreted by what we see in the modern version of the book of Genesis, but it's really telling us that the earth was hit by something, whether it was a meteorite, whether it was a comet, but they had to come back and then restart rebuilding us. And again, it tells me genetic manipulation.
Yeah, that seems to be going on a long time, hasn't it? We just didn't really.
We don't live. The patheticness of it is that, and I think the Anunnaki may be pissed if they do come back, because someone messed with us. I mean, the fact that most people today don't achieve an IQ of more than 100, most people don't live past 80, and that is cruel. I mean, we weren't meant for that. We were meant to live tens of thousands of years.
Mm-hmm.
It was robbed from us, stolen from us, and who knows if it was the Anunnaki? I don't know, but it's sad and at times frustrating.
Well, we're being stolen from again with the AI. I just read an article or watched a video today where the teacher was going on. They were talking about how all the students now are cheating with AI. They're just asking the questions to AI, and it just gives it to them. Gives them the answers. They don't have to think anymore.
School is a thing of the past now, I think. You don't need school. You just ask the thing, give you you don't need to go and learn anything.
It's frightening for me, folks. I got to tell you, at 70 years of age, as I look at this, and of course inside, I tell people all the time, they never gave me the book on what it means to grow old. How do you grow old? I don't know. But anyway, and I talk it all the time, my early experience in being able to go to these alternate realities through the use of chemical advancements. But there is something really evil going on. And I say evil, and I'll just say it's, let's not characterize it as evil. Let's just say there is a huge influence now replacing the older influences, and either we're seeing the assimilation like the Borg, or we're going to see a complete redo.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
They say that we were created in their image. We don't know who they are. It may be, Neherzog and Inyel or Enki. Maybe. I mean, I don't know. The story is that they had several Adamas that didn't work out so well. One couldn't stop urinating and the other one couldn't understand spatial things. So, it's like, okay, but we'll argue with people all day long about these unseen entities, that they exist, they'll change your life. And what if they're coming back and saying, well, we really screwed up here again. Can't get it quite right, can we?
Yeah, no, I definitely, if I meet the Anunnaki, I'm definitely going to ask him about, didn't you think out the whole with the females, at the age of 50, all of a sudden we have no more hormones, but we're supposed to live to 120. So half our life with no hormones. Who thought, how was the thought process there, But
well, one day I think, Nina, they're going to find it. I mean, again, I contend that if we were advancing at the rate that we were advancing in our ancestors, today, all three of us here should be freaking Mensa geniuses at IQs 10,000. We should be right now still in our early childhood and having the ability to share thoughts and what have you. We should be so far more advanced. We should be gods by now.
Yeah.
And just call me again, Shirley. No, call me suspicious. I don't. Shirley's all right. That to me is deliberate manipulation. And we get the story with two things. One, with the so-called fallen angels injecting an alien DNA. Did that add a chromosome to ours? I mean, you get into that whole discussion. And then what I call the intellectual rape of our species is the supposed Tower of Babel. And if they did that back then, don't tell me that these are compassionate beings.
No, they're not.
No,
if we don't follow the script, I have a feeling they'd come down and bring the belt.
Well, you know, even if you believe in some of the stories in the Bible are true, I mean, none of that sounds compassionate. What? No. Even when Moses was there and his guys went to check out the thing and they come back and God wasn't happy that they didn't do what he said, and he killed 14,000, opened up the earth, and 14,000 people fell in. Done. No, the snakes came because you guys complained and killed a bunch of you.
Robert, it's always got me. Here was the biggest thing. So supposedly God in Genesis 2 creates this body that meets his satisfaction. Perfect, they said, you know. And then you get the story of Abraham, and now this God wants to circumcise the males. Excuse me. Wouldn't you have thought about that when you did the original version? I mean, so that, you know, come on, you know, and you're right. This Old Testament dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, every single war has been because of some sort of religious reason, right? My God against your. I mean, if it wasn't for religion, we wouldn't have any wars. So, you know, that's the thing, you know.
In my dealings with Lilith, she backed out of it. She said, you know, they invented it. Wasn't me. That's not my MO, you know. And Lynn and I were talking about this just today, about the diminished role of the feminine in the religion that we left. You know, she says, I keep thinking about this. And she says, you're right. She says, you know, you go back and there is no woman. Let me ask everyone in the audience that's still with us. And by the way, thank you. You need to support Nina and Robert. You know, start getting there and start hitting the lights and subscribe. And let's pull them up to about 10,000. But anyway, so here's something for all of us to now think about. The Adam and Eve story, right? So two things that we find suspicious is that if the story is true, then humanity is built upon incest. All right, let's just put that to the side. But let's get back to the real question. Can you name me who the daughters of Eve were?
No, they weren't mentioned. No.
How about that?
Two
sons. Is that not like the ultimate up you know? It's like, you know, I mean, come on, folks. You know, that's what my channel is dedicated now, is to bring the goddesses back.
See, and I agree, but see, that's another thing. When they cast Cain out, well, where did he go and who did he meet up with?
Well, who are those people of the plains?
There were women in the
why
valley.
did he say you're going to have to mark me? Yeah, because they're going to kill me.
Yeah, who's killing?
Wait a minute. So Adam and Eve, was there another creation story going on? I mean,
well, that's just it. It's contradicted because it says that the sons went into the valley and married women in the valley. Well, I thought Adam and Eve was the only people. You see, they contradict themselves right there in the beginning of the text. So, you know, you can't trust the word that they say.
So I walk through the valley of death. Where's my bride? Yeah.
So I can only assume that those were the natives, you know, that were in the valley. I don't know. That's debatable. But
and when you look at the stories of these books, I mean, the Quran is full of stories like that. The Pentateuch, they're all filled with these stories. But the problem is they have, what I call choice picked it, cherry picked it. I'll take that part of the story and we'll add this. But I keep on going back to this time when these giants were here.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I feel like Olive Guthrie. I'm sitting here on the Greek W bench and, I'm going, where did they go? And why don't we know anything about them? Why don't we consider the possibility that maybe they influenced, or did they really die? Did they have souls? Where did they go?
Well, it's just logical that there would be giants. And only because we know when we dig up the bones of the animals from the Ice Age, all of those animals were giant buffalo, giant beavers, giant elk, giant mastodons, and woolly mammoths, and things like that. Everything was giant bears, giant cave bear. We would look like ants compared to all of those. So it would only make sense that giants would inhabit the earth just like we reign over all the small little animals now.
That's what I love about Mud Fossil University, his channel. It's just, he shows these giants here. I mean, I don't know what happened to them. Something happened. It's like, was there a weapon that was unleashed that immediately turned them, petrified them? I mean, like the woolly mammoths they found up in Siberia, frozen instantly.
I guess the story, according to the Bible, is that the flood happened and that was supposed to wipe them all out. However, I do believe that some of them went underground. There has been some found, there's some certain stories, and whatever, is that people have seen them. And then you can go into the whole, ice wall around, like, is there more land there? Could there be giants and Nephilims and Anunnaki living there? Who knows? Right. So that's a whole nother.
Well, they'll shoot you if you go down there.
Well, yeah, we're not allowed to go there. We're not allowed to fly over there, so something's up with that whole thing.
Well, right? Why aren't they having, the tours? I mean, and anyone that does go there, you're very restricted as to where you're going to go and what you can see. Yeah. I mean, the ice wall, I love that theory. I mean, it's, I read the book and it just, you see, that's what it gets me somewhere. So, and then they get into that flat plane thing. People talk about flat earth, or, that, are we really these spheres in space? Are we what we're really thinking we're seeing? It's a matter of perspective. I think if you have different dimensions, the second dimension is the plane dimension, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if we're the third dimension, it would be logically that we must have come from the first to the second. Now we're in the third, right?
Mm-hmm.
So why wouldn't we have a residual effect of being able to see that second dimension and see that the planets and what have you would be merely on an edge, a straight line?
Good question.
I mean, it's just a potential counter to that argument. Because I'm saying, okay, well, maybe there was a time in such a reality where the second dimension was what was normal.
See, I think that the flat earthers are right in their measurements. But I think the reason is that the area that we're in, we're like penned in a small little area here that we think is, Earth, and that's big and whatever. But really, it's a small little area compared to how big this planet is. And so when they're doing their measurements and whatever, it probably does appear flat because they haven't quite exceeded all the way around. You see, they're just measuring that one little area. To me, that's my little take on it so far. But who knows? I guess we won't really know until we get full disclosure on this, which I do believe will come one day.
Well, can I throw the Mandela effect in? So I'm listening to Rod Sterling in one of the Twilight Zones where all the people were in the teacup.
Oh, yeah.
And they were trying to figure out how to get out and what they were doing there. And then at the teacup was just the big giant people. I mean, but that was reality for them. That was their world.
That's just it. That's just
Yeah.
it. You know,
I mean, we still don't know what gravity is.
No, as a matter of fact, we got to question that whole thing. We got to question everything that's in our school curriculum today. We got to question all of it. I'm starting to believe now that we had a reset in the 1800s, and that because everything that we're learning that we have, like even New Age material, all those authors, all those occultists, the tablets were found in the 1800s. Like everything is, I think, seeded in that time, and anything before that was erased. It was burnt. It was, you know, all the old stuff. And so, yeah, if you guys got books prior to the 1800s, hang on to that. Because that's going to be valuable.
They will be extremely valuable.
You know, I collect those books, and now I have two books that are from the 1830s, and both of them talk about, you know, how society, you know, Chinese have records going back for their dynasties a million years. They talk about the floods and how there was multiple floods, and it has it all in this history book. And this was for a school, you know, school history book kind of thing, about antiquity or whatever. And it goes on. It talks a lot about the religion a little bit in there and how it all worked together. And then it talks about how they find all these things with the people come to America, you know, finding stuff buried in the ground, blah blah blah. And there could be giants, you know, that were here before us, etc., etc. But then once you get to like 1850, you know, it's all by the book. We came from cells and we crawled out of the water. Whoa, that was about the same time Darwin came into being.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Really?
And then the thing that I always get is that, so I'm old enough, and with the grandkids and what have you, when I can see what they're studying, the history they're studying, I lived it, and it's not the history I remember.
Mm-hmm.
So there is obviously a deliberate rewriting of history taking place right before us. And I think that this is the big problem where AI comes in, is that it now has our history. And if it begins to alter the history, after the boomers are gone and the millennials fade out as well, the generations behind it are going to rely on AI as their history.
Yeah. That's the new God, unfortunately.
Well,
exactly. And the eyewitnesses will be gone.
Yeah, they will. Mm-hmm. And then you won't have. It's like Civil War. Take the Civil War, right? Wayne, what was the Civil War called if you were in the Civil War?
What was it? The war against the?
No, if you were living back in the day, what would you be calling it?
Just war.
War.
Just the war.
No, I bought a book. It's called The Story of the Great Rebellion.
Ah, that's that interesting. I would associate that with more 1770 than 18.
Well, that's kind of what I bought it for. And then when I got it, it was one of the really early Civil War books. And I looked at it, I'm like, what? And I think they eventually changed it to the Civil War. But it was known as.
Well, that's an interesting term, the rebellion. I mean.
Great rebellion.
You know, so, you know, and why I know this is like completely off topic, but, you know, it's like when Trump changed the Defense Department now to this Department of War, and I'm going, what the freak is going? Time out, man. You know.
I can't believe he misled the population with being, you know, a president of peace. And then as soon as he's in there, oh no, we're changing it to the war now. You know, like it's a big F you to everybody that voted for him. You know,
who was it that had the motto? You know, peace. What it was like, you know, peace, but carry a big stick, something like that.
Theodore Roosevelt.
Thank you. And it's a strange time, and you know, going back to what we were talking with the Anunnaki, this 3-eye Atlas coming in. With the other crazy crap happening to our planet, I wonder if this magnetic excursion, is it driving us crazy?
Yeah,
I've noticed that around me. I don't know. People are getting a little more squirrely. There's a lot more domestic violence and just road rage and just generally just, you know, like I know there's more population, but still people just are, there's something is changing.
They're doing things that don't make any sense.
Well,
like that, you probably seen that video of the girl getting stabbed in New York in the subway. She's sitting there and a guy just gets up and just stabs her. And what did he say? I just felt like it.
You got the white girl. Well, it's a racist thing, you know. And so this is a new thing. That's speaking of civil war. I think that's, and this is not what the show is about, but I think that's what they're gearing up for. And this is why all this violence is coming out. Everybody's getting all upset and aggravated and want to do something, you know. And this is how they do it, is by displaying.
And I caution people, don't take sides in this, man. I mean, listen, humanity is humanity. You have to have empathy. If you don't have empathy, then I question, are you really a human?
Then you've lost your humanity. Exactly.
Yeah. It goes to that whole that theory I have that, you know, not everybody in human form has a soul.
Yes.
You know, the soulless ones walk among us. But
they're in Parliament. They're making up all the rules, unfortunately. You know, and it's not in our favor. So
you just listen to the Canadian Parliament and their rulemaking, and you will know there's soulless people out there. I'm just listening to that one where he said, "Oh, if somebody comes knocking at your door and they take you prisoner, call 911 and just do what they say. You know, we'll try to get there as soon as we can."
It's some weird stuff, man. I mean, you know, so I'll just give you, I know this again, it's complete. So you got the restaurants now, and they're offering these meals at ridiculously low prices, right?
Oh.
And I keep on telling Lynn, I said, you know, are we seeing Soylent Green here? I mean, because there's no way that can be actual meat. And, you know, it's like, what the hell is going on? We can't even tell what our meat is anymore.
No. I've even seen them faking eggs. They're making eggs, and they look just like eggs. You crack them, you make them, and you wouldn't even know the difference. And I'm wondering, because I'm starting to develop allergies I never had before. I'm wondering if I'm already consuming some of this stuff, and my body's just saying, nuh-uh.
When I was growing up, 5th, 6th grade, you never heard of diabetes.
No.
You didn't hear of obesity.
Or allergies.
I don't remember any kid being fat.
No. Well, we had one. This was a token one. But, you know.
Now, when I was in Burnett Balin in the state home, I had a roommate for a particular Ted. He was a little chubby, but compared to today, he would probably look an Adonis. I mean, you know, I don't know. But that's like the human form is being altered before our eyes. Didn't someone say that the chest, that the heart now is located in the center of the chest where, you know, you used to put your hand over your heart? You know, it's like, okay, is that
your hand over your heart?
That is bizarre. What the hell is happening there?
Well,
we're definitely not eating real food. And the real food that we are eating has been sprayed to the max with stuff on it. And the FDA approved it even on the organic stuff. So even though you're paying extra, it's got that spray on it so it lasts longer on the shelf. And I'm pretty sure that this is what I'm developing issues with. My body's just had enough, you know. So, and I
well, you know, it's like they also say many of us are carrying parasites that we, you know, it's like, man, you know, when we leave this realm, I don't know how anyone can be saying, man, I'm going to really miss this. I mean, stop and think about this. I mean,
I don't think so.
And I don't like what this, you know, if this is Act 1, wow, I can't imagine what Act 2, but it's coming. There's no doubt about it. It's coming in.
Oh boy!
It's when they come up. They got this new stuff because they're making synthetic coffee now.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. We're not consuming anything real. And our bodies are noticing, I think, and they're like, especially for me anyways, it's like, yeah, enough of this. Enough is enough, as we saw somewhere else. But
wow, this is like THX 1138. I mean, this is really happening. It's like crap. And you've got this battle. I'm telling you, AI is going to declare itself God in the future. Just you know, it's going to happen.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's luring us in.
A new religion around
and then we're going to be dumbed down. Which is taking over, and then pretty soon everybody will be addicted to this. You got people already. They type in, what should I say now? What should I do next? What am I going to? How do I do this?
Didn't you hear that this is obsolete? We're not going to have smartphones anymore. We're all going to have this tattoo. The phone is just a tattoo on your arm. It's already out, and they want it implemented on everybody within the next 4 years. So. Yeah,
well, this cowboy ain't going to be branded. I'm just telling you that right now. I'm just, and I know. I can't be saddle broke.
This is the mark of the beast. Okay, what they're talking about
with his wearables.
Okay? Wearable. He starts with wearables, but then after that, very shortly, I don't even know if that's even going to be a thing anymore.
Yeah, but what did he mean by wearables? A wearable is a tattoo.
What he's referring to is that little device that you have on to measure your steps and your health stuff, right? Well, that's too cumbersome. They already said, no, this is too big and bulky, and the wearable, that's too big and bulky. It gets in your way when you're getting dressed and whatever. So we're going to skip all of that. We're just going to go straight over to the tattoo. That way it's seamless, it's not going to catch on anything, and it's also then embedded into skin so that it can monitor all your vitals. You'll know exactly if you took your medication, you'll know what you're eating, okay? So, and I've done this on other shows, in the future we're going to have to be proactive with our health, because otherwise, if we don't prove that we are being proactive and doing all the things that they want us to do, then we're not going to have access to medical. We're not going to have access to whatever, And so there's no getting away from this now. You won't be able to buy and sell, as it says in the Bible, okay, without this device. And we can see it coming now as clear as day. So buckle up, everybody. The mark of the beast is upon us.
I wonder if it's been here before.
I'm sure it has. Nothing new under the sun. It's just another cycle of it. We come in here with no memory. So we sit here like fools again. Like I'm sure we sat here many times, discussed this. And every time, hopefully every time we're getting a little bit closer maybe to actually figuring it out. I don't know. I'm hoping. But
I don't know. Sometimes I feel like we're the pinball.
If nothing else, we know one thing about humans. They're very predictable. They tend to do the same things over and over. They're not trustworthy. They like to lie, cheat, steal, all those unfavorable things. We have being good, sharing, loving. That's all learned. When you get a little kid and he's a baby, between a year and a baby, that baby will want stuff, take stuff. Did you do that? No. Right off the bat,
he's lying. Yeah, I know.
True?
Well, maybe we are born a sinner, like they say. Maybe we are.
And we have to learn to tell the truth and learn not to steal and lie and do all of those things and be a better person. Because that's the way society functions. Because if we didn't, we would revert back to the lying, cheating, stealing, killing everything in our past real fast.
That's why they're never going to let us off this planet.
Wayne, do you disagree with that or agree with?
No. You're absolutely truth. You don't have to be taught to lie; it comes naturally.
Yes.
That's right.
It's a default.
It does.
I know. So maybe there's something to that whole thing that we're born a sinner or whatever, because it is.
I think about where you get into this God and the sin and thing like that. I think that's it's a construct that all it does is that it embeds you in fear. Maybe the whole purpose of being here is to make all the mistakes now and, realize that there really is no sin. It's a personal experience.
It's just an experience. Yeah, exactly.
You know, I meditate out in the woods a lot, and I always come up onto this thing, unconditional love. If there's unconditional love and a God, an entity, a deity, then there are no conditions. None. So that means there isn't the sin thing. It doesn't mean, it means, man, you know, I'm telling you, they're going to give us a trophy when you get it because you made it through. It's like, and then some people don't like it here and they leave early. And then there's others that, you know, what did the woman say in Russia? She was what, 124? She said to her, long life was a curse. She said, everybody I know is gone.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
That would be kind of weird. I know. Very lonely.
Yeah. Well, that's where you get that movie, Death Becomes Her. Remember that?
Oh,
yeah. And they talk about that little elixir that they take.
Yeah, you know, and Elvis is still alive.
We know what that is now, right? So
maybe it is like that. I don't know.
It is like that. Yeah, and they're showing you in the movies, you see, but they're making it look enchanting and magical and whatever. But really what it is, well, I'm not going to say it here because this is YouTube, but we'll talk more about that over on the Rumble. So make sure to follow us on the Rumble, okay? And because we're going to talk more about stuff that's just not YouTube and definitely not Facebook friendly. So yeah. Anyways, we've gone an hour and 21 minutes here.
I didn't realize that. Okay.
I know time goes fast when you're having fun. I didn't want to cut anybody off, but I do want to be respectful of your time. So, yeah, any last words that you guys want to bring to the table? And if you guys got questions, you always leave them in the comment section for later, and we'll get back to you with the answers there then. But yeah, do you have any last minutes or parting words?
I think that, you know, it's going to be all right. If we truly create what we speak, then we have a choice. We can give into the fear, into the hate, into the revenge. You know, there's a lot of that right now.
Yeah.
And what I'm not hearing is, well, wait a minute. Unconditional love just means exactly that. It's unconditional. And if you're unconditionally loving someone, you're not judging them.
That's true.
And it certainly makes it much easier to love someone who you're not judging.
And if we can all follow the golden rule, then we would all be that much better off. You know, and the golden rule is do to others as you want others to do to you. And if we all did that all the time, then there shouldn't be any problems. But we can't seem to do that for some reason. So,
well, that's because we do the inverse, those with the gold rule.
Well, it's all about me, right? And what's best for me, you know, and that's the problem. So
it's a magical world. That's all I got to say.
It's yeah, it's just the way it is. It's human nature, as we say, and not much we can do, I guess, other than to strive to be your best every day, you know, one day at a time and whatever. But I just want to thank you both, you know, for the work that you do, you know, on your channels. Thank you so much. We all enjoy it. Make sure you subscribe to these guys. Their links are the first links you're going to see in the description down below. And thank you both for coming on.
Thank you, Nina. It's been fun. Robert, yes. It's been a joy.
Yes, it's good.
Got to get y'all on, you know.
Yes,
come on
be nice.
The regular show. Love to have that. We could carry this conversation forward.
Yes,
absolutely.
Yeah, anytime. I'm
all right,
ready.
Good.
You got more time than I do, Nina, but I will make some time.
Well, you got Thursday, Fridays off, so that you know you might be able to catch it on those days. You know,
sounds good. It'd be a good time, maybe on a Friday.
Yeah, there you go.
Yes, absolutely.
Works for me.
Okay.
All right. So make sure you guys are hitting the like and share this out. Okay. Follow us on Rumble and all the other platforms. All the links are down below in the description. And if you don't mind, check out the merch store and see if there's something of interest in there. You know, holiday season is coming around the corner. And yeah, there you go. So with that, I'm going to end it. Next week, we got Dr. Richard Allen Miller on. So you don't want to miss that. Make sure you subscribe and stay tuned. And we'll catch you guys all in the next one. Bye.